Okay, so when winter hits here in Utah, are you excited? Are you sad? Is there a combination of both emotions? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you 13 things that nobody told me about winter when we moved from California here to Utah, and we're going to hop into it right now. Hey there, Mariah here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. This channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that's of interest to you, consider subscribing down below and make sure you tap that bell for notifications so you are notified every week we drop a new video. We hear from people like you all the time who are looking to make a move here to the Salt Lake City, Utah area, or relocating here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move here in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. Okay, so we're going to hop into the 13 things that nobody ever tells you about winter here in Utah. Number one, at least every single winter season, prepare to get stuck on the freeway or a back road going at least 20 miles an hour, and it's going to be almost a standstill. I actually was up in Salt Lake going to a Jazz Warriors game and was coming back home, and it was a blizzardy kind of day. And I think we were lucky to be going maybe 15 miles an hour, snow everywhere. So just if it's winter weather, plan a little bit ahead because you're going to want to allow extra time to get wherever you are planning on going because the freeways will get backed up. Number two, there are fewer parking spaces in the parking lots when you are going shopping simply because of all of the snow that gets pushed to one side of the parking lot. So for example, if I'm pulling into Trader Joe's, guaranteed, this actually happened to me this week, when I pulled in, there was a whole row of parking spots that were gone simply because all of the snow gets pushed to one area and it sits there until it ends up melting. So two, less parking spots. Number three, even if you have four-wheel drive, it will not help you when you hit icy spots in the road. So you want to be very, very careful, especially hitting that ice. A lot of times, if you do have snow tires can help a lot just with the traction and everything. But even if you have four-wheel drive, those icy patches are still going to be really icy and really won't help you with that traction. So keep that in mind. Number four, Utahns are known for shoveling those driveways, snow blowing the driveways, but don't be surprised if you see somebody out shoveling their driveway in shorts and a t-shirt. I kid you not. I have seen this so many times and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, it is really cold outside, but don't worry, they'll be out there. A lot of times short sleeves and shorts, I'm telling you. Number five, just because it's a blizzard outside does not mean that work and school are canceled. Yes, usually school is still going to be in session. Generally, work is going to be in session as well, unless it's something major. But if it's snowing outside, plan on packing your kids with a jacket and some boots because they're going to go out for outside recess too. I did not know that when we moved here. Number six, even though work and school are still happening and in session, don't be surprised if there are some of those Utahns that are going to pull their kids out of school and go for a nice ski day because there is fresh powder. I've heard this many, many, many times. Hey, are your kids at school? Oh yeah, no, they took a ski day. They're taking a personal day. This happens, I am telling you. And on those blizzardy days, like I had mentioned before, there's a lot of times that people will take a personal day, and that personal day will be at the ski resort and either skiing, snowing, sledding, snowboarding, you name it. People are doing all sorts of those things. And something else here in Utah with those ski resorts are what's called tubing. Yes, tubing. They have these giant inner tubes, kind of like when you are going water skiing and you have, tubing on the back of the boat. Well, here in Utah, they have tubing, but it's like a sled, except for it's a big inner tube, and you will go all the way down the mountain And in fact, there are a lot of people that have side-by-sides, and they will go, instead of like sledding, they will go tubing and go up into the mountains, take their tubes, and everybody goes on the back on the tubes, and then the side-by-side goes all the way down the mountain and then pulls the tubes all the way back up again. So tubing was something I didn't know about before we moved here as well. Number 8, you may have a harder time breathing the air here in Salt Lake City during the winter months, simply because of the inversion that happens oftentimes in the winter months. What happens is the pollution comes through, that thick air gets stuck in the valley in that Salt Lake City, Utah area. It sits there until a winter storm comes and blows it out. And so that kind of thick, smoggy air just sits in the valley until it gets pushed out. So for some that have asthma or breathing problems, that winter air is no joke and can really cause, some issues. So keep that in mind as well. Number 9, this one actually makes me laugh. Utahns here like to, I don't say argue, but kind of discuss which winter was the worst. So usually people will say, oh, this is a really mild winter, or, oh, last year was way worse than this, or this is the worst winter we've had in 5 years, in 10 years, in a decade, right? And so people really like to compare each winter to either the past or the previous, or 5 years or 10 years, previously. So people love to chat about the weather here. Number 10, kind of going along with people comparing the winters and the weather. Even though people here talk a ton about the weather, I think secretly a lot of people actually love the 4 seasons, and they actually love winter here because it really does look like a winter wonderland. When you start driving and you just see the snow-capped mountains, and you see all the roof lines that have the snow all over them, and the trees. And I mean, it really looks like a winter wonderland. Although people talk about, it's so cold, it's this and that, I secretly think people here in Utah actually love the winter. And you see so many people out and about still, and it really doesn't stop a lot of people. You don't see a lot of kids, that it stops that. Kids are out making snowmen. People are out sledding and snowboarding and skiing. And in fact, on my way to drive my kids to school, I often see a lot of runners too. Yes, there are runners. They just put the different little traction on the bottom of their tennis shoes, and away they go. Number 11, some of my kids' favorite childhood memories that we are creating here have to do with the snow. I'm telling you, all year long, my kids are still talking about what happened last winter and what happened the winter before. The first snow that happened here, instantly my kids are like, when are we going skiing? When are we going sledding? When are we having a snowball fight? And so they're already planning way out in advance. So, and they're still talking about, do you remember last year when we went to this ski resort and we stayed at this place and we did this? And they're already planning out winter for us. So the childhood memories that these kids are creating are priceless. Number 12, have you heard of St. George, Utah? Well, St. George, Utah is in the southern part of the state. And honestly, St. George, if it is the winter time, if you go to St. George, it is kind of like all those people going to Florida for the winter, right? I know a lot of my family that lives in Minnesota, they go to Florida in the wintertime. Same thing here in Utah, in northern Utah and southern Utah. Southern Utah during the winter months is going to be about 20 degrees warmer than it is. So in northern Utah, you're not going to have a lot of soccer tournaments here in northern Utah, but guaranteed in southern Utah, everybody is going to St. George and Mesquite, which is in Nevada, for January and February. Soccer tournaments are going on, pickleball tournaments are going on. I mean, all sorts of outdoor things. So St. George, Utah is kind of like heading to Florida, although it really is only a 3.5-hour drive. So if you hear people saying, hey, we're headed to St. George for the winter, that, it's kind of like the snowbirds leaving and going to Florida. Number 13, really the snow here in Utah is so beautiful. It really is beautiful. If you're not driving in it and you're not shoveling it and you're really not having to do those day-to-day things, just looking at it and getting to be in it and enjoy it, there really is nothing better than that. And if you love the 4 seasons, having a taste of some snow for a few months really is a ton of fun. And one thing that a lot of people don't know about with the weather and the winters here in Utah is we do still get a lot of sunny days. So you can have it dump snow one day and then the next day it's bright and sunny and a lot of that snow ends up melting. So just kind of keep that in mind. So hopefully these 13 things that nobody else has ever told you about Utah winters gives you a little bit of a snapshot, kind of just knowing, hey, road conditions might be a little bit slower. I might be way less parking spots in the shopping center, that your four-wheel drive might not help in between those icy, slick road conditions, and just kind of keeping in mind the snow days and all those different things. And again, if you are thinking about making a move or relocating here to Utah in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, we love hearing from people just like you, and we would absolutely love to hear from you. Feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our pleasure to connect with you. Take care and have a great one. Bye.